that he hasn't seen, well, ever, and that no one in our world has seen since 1928. A cartoon rabbit by the name of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Oswald was Walt Disney's first cartoon star. He created him in 1927, but then about a year and a half later, he lost the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit in a contract dispute with his distributor. And that's the only reason Mickey Mouse exists today, because Walt lost the rights to Oswald. Well, think about what this says about video games and where they are in world culture, where they stand in the world today. Disney decided that the way to introduce Oswald to the world again, 80 years later, is in a video game. And my team and I are really honored to be able to bring him back to you, because the little guy is a star. I guarantee you're going to end up loving this guy at the end of this game. But he awakens, he encounters Oswald, and then finds himself in this world where he doesn't belong. He is not forgotten, he's not rejected. What's he doing? So before we actually start playing the game, let me say a few more things about our goals for this project. Number one goal was to make Mickey Mouse a star of video games. At the same level, he's been a star in every other medium he's tackled. He's been literally the biggest movie star in the world. He's obviously a huge presence on television and theme parks. But for some reason, despite having appeared in a lot of video games, he's never actually achieved that same level of success. Well, my team and I want to right that wrong and make him a video game star as big as any on the planet. Secondarily, like I said, we get to reintroduce Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Great character, I want you all to love him. You'll see him later. Not here today, but you'll see him in the game. And then, finally, I wanted to take the idea that's been behind all of the games that I've worked on, all the games that my teams have made, the idea that play style matters to a larger audience. You guys are all gamers, you get it. There are plenty of games where you get to make choices, developers show you the consequences of those choices, the game plays out differently, tells your story, your unique story as you play. But there are a whole lot of folks out there who don't currently think of themselves as gamers, who I think are really going to love that too. So with Mickey as our star, and the world of Wasteland as our playground, we're going to bring that idea to men, women, boys, girls, families, to try to bring games into a place that movies already are. A place where a movie like Up or Ratatouille or The Incredibles can be considered entertainment for everyone, not necessarily targeted at boys 18 to 24 or tween girls. I don't see any reason why games can't achieve that, and with this game we're going to try to bring it to everyone. So with that, let's take a look at a little part of the game. This is a land called the Jungle. It's set in a part of the game midway through where Mickey is exploring the world, trying to earn the trust of his brother Oswald to reunite with his brother and get Oswald to help him get out of this world and save this world. It's a world that's inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean, the films and the rides, and also by Peter Pan, by the film Peter Pan. So as you look at this, if you're a real Disney fan, you'll notice things that are directly drawn from films, theme park rides, and feature films. You've been told to find a character named Starkey. He's a pirate. He's kind of stuck here. So let's jump in and see if Paul Weaver's the director of development at Junction Point, the guy who has to make all of my crazy ideas real. I do not envy you. So here we are. We're standing at the beginning part of this level, and you can see there are some guys. I'll tell you right now, those are enemies. You would know that by this point in the game. So there are some enemies. There's stuff over there that looks a little weird. Do you want to go fight? Or do you want to go explore and platform? This is a game that takes the best of action-adventure, merges it with the best of platforming, and with a healthy dose of role-playing, that SX-style role-playing. So I'm going to throw that out to you guys. What do you want to do? Do you want to fight? Do you want to platform? What do you want to do? Explore? Okay, let's go explore. Well, we had a couple of fights, but I think we got more exploring. So we tried fighting this morning. We'll do the exploration this time. Or perhaps we'll fight first. Okay, so we're going to fight a little bit. We'll get to the exploration in a minute. Oh no, there he goes. Okay. So you'll notice that he's spraying this blue stuff. That's paint. One of the things we really wanted to do was remind Mickey, and remind all of you guys, that he's a cartoon character. He's not real, okay? He is made of paint and ink. And we thought it would be really cool to let players use that. So here Paul he's noticing places that have been they look a little sketchy, so he's painting them in and creating a little platforming path. He's making this game feel like a platform. He doesn't have to do that. There are ways to get around this world without jumping and spinning and doing all the things you would expect to do in a platform game. But Paul's made the choice to go and do that. He actually knows where Starkey is. We're cheating a little bit, but he's gone and he's found something interesting. What is that? And he's found some paint. So he's used a little bit of his paint, and now he's collecting a little bit more. He's restoring the world, and behind the scenes, the game is tracking all of that. The game is tracking, hey, Paul likes painting stuff. Paul's avoided some fights. Paul's using paint a lot. And we'll get to what that means soon. So here's a little cinematic moment. We tell our story in 2D cinematics like this. These were directly inspired by the work of concept artists at Disney, like Mary Blair, one of my favorite artists. She worked for Disney for many years. If you've been to the parks, right, written It's a Small World, that was inspired directly by her work. If you've seen the movie Peter Pan, if you've seen the movie Alice in Wonderland, you're familiar with this woman's concept work, even if you don't know it. And as part of honoring 80 years of Disney creativity, which is one of the things we're trying to do in this game, we wanted to bring her work to life, and the work of all those other Disney concept artists and storyboard artists. So we tell our story in this form. Now, what he's saying is, there are a couple of ways to get out of here, and you're on a quest to save Wasteland. You've got villains you have to defeat, and one of them is beyond this jungle territory. And to get there, you've got to do a couple of things. You can either assist him in his quest. He's trapped here. He's surrounded by enemies, and he's not capable of defeating them. So he's asking, maybe you'll help me. Maybe you'll take out all the bad guys in the jungle, and I'll be able to go home to Tortuga where I belong. Or maybe you don't want to take the risk. Maybe you say, I've got a world to save. I've got a villain to defeat. I need to just get going. And you could also get out of here by unlocking keys, symbols that provide the keys to unlocking a door that will let you get out of this land. So it's up to you. It's your choice. Do you want to help this guy, which will earn you a friend, and will change your experience, change your story later on? Or do you want to take the relatively safe, relatively quick, relatively easy exploration route, find the keys that will let you get out? That's up to you too. So not only do you have the choice of do I fight or do I platform in this case, not only do you have the choice of do I solve problems by painting things, by restoring them, by creating things, or by erasing and removing obstacles from my path, you also have to decide, is it more important for me to make friends and have information that they would give me, and items that they would give me, and direct assistance that they would give me, or is it more important that I just efficiently, quickly save this world? Well, that's a choice you have to make. So I have no idea which choice Paul is going to make. We'll find out. Okay, it looks like he's collecting these jewels. Again, I almost hesitate to tell you what they're good for. We're revealing all sorts of stuff here that we should probably let you find out for yourself. But this is actually a map that, oh my gosh, okay, it's been spotted by what we call a Beetleworks. That's one of our animatronic monsters. There are some things in this world that you can't just erase, and that's one of them. But Paul just used a television. That's what we call a sketch. There are several sketch types you can find in the game. It's a secondary system that you can use in combination with your paint thinner to provide a little bit of added depth to the play. You can use paint on them to slow them down. Characters like this, and given how that guy is stalking him, I think I would be doing that if I were him. But he's trying to erase this guy's tuned shell, tuned armor, which will reveal a weak spot, and then he can attack it directly. I really recommend dropping an anvil on this guy's head, Paul. There are a variety of ways to solve every problem. You can take this guy out physically. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Congratulations. Okay, that guy always kicks my butt, I gotta tell you. He's pretty tough. But Paul took him out with a combination of paint, thinner, sketches, and then direct interaction. There are a variety of ways you can deal with that. So here again, now these guys are attracted by the television. They just get shorted out. They're kind of weak. In case, by the way, you didn't notice, those guys are directly inspired by some vultures that appeared in a film called The Jungle Book back in 1967. Almost everything in this game is inspired by something real from Disney's history. So So if you're a Disney fan, even if you're not a game fan, though I suspect most of you are, you can play the Where Did That Come From game, because almost everything is directly inspired by something from Disney's history. So here he is now. He is just willy-nilly erasing things. Well, okay, that paid off. It actually revealed whose quests to take, how you solve those quests, how you interact with those big moments in the game. All those add up. So at the end of the game, the end game changes based on what you do. And it's not just, hey, it's the last mission, we're going to let you choose one of 3 endings, which one do you want? It's tracking, not that anybody on this stage might ever have done that in a game before. We're tracking everything you do from the first moment you start playing to the very end, and that affects how your story, your version of Mickey, what kind of hero Mickey becomes, how that all ends up at the end of the day. So it looks like Paul is befriending these things, which these guys would be exploding all over the place and doing all sorts of damage to the world and to Mickey. But Paul looks like he's decided that befriending things is the right way to go. And soon enough, if we're lucky, he will have unlocked the gate out of here. Now, if he does, in fact, deal with all of the enemies, and dealing with all the enemies, solving Starkey's problem, means either making all these guys go away or making them friendly. Either one will work. That determines a lot of stuff about the game. It's just one map out of what is, for me anyway, a 20-25 hour play experience the first time through. That changes things all over the place. Now, if you don't help Starkey out, he's stuck here. And so when you go back to his home, he's not going to be there. His friends aren't going to be happy with him. That's going to make the experience of his home, Tortuga, one thing. If you do help him out, actually, I didn't notice, did you help him out? Oh, okay. So when Paul goes back to Tortuga, Starkey won't be there. His friends won't be happy. His friends won't help you. And so his experience of Tortuga is going to be completely different than other players. And so take that simple idea, translate it to 20-odd hours of gameplay, and that's kind of the Disney Epic Mickey game. You get to decide what it means to be a hero. You get to decide how important friends are to you, how important family is to you in the form of Oswald. You get to decide how Wasteland turns out. You get to decide what story you tell through your play choices. So, I believe that is it. We have opened the gateway out. And I think we're good to go. That is Disney Epic Mickey in a nutshell. Erase them. Or you can sneak past them. In almost every case, you can avoid a fight. You can erase your enemies and make them just disappear. It's very straightforward, very simple. Or you can turn them into friends, and they will help you in some way. And that goes not just for the Spladooshs of the world, that goes for every character in the game, including the boss battles. How you interact with the bosses. I mean, every platform game has bosses. Every adventure game has bosses. We have bosses. But this is a game where you get to decide if you're going to defeat the bosses, defeat all of your enemies, or if you're going to befriend them. You're going to figure out what they need, what they want, and give it to them. And what choice you make there affects the outcome of the game. So there are all sorts of levels in which choice has consequences. There's, if you erase everything you see, characters around you aren't going to be as helpful to you. They're not going to like you as much. You may get to solve the problem that this world has very quickly, but the characters aren't going to help you out. So you might become more personally powerful, which might be a great way to be a hero. I have to be as strong as I can be to defeat the enemies in this world. Or it might be that you say, no, I want to help everybody. I want to make this world a better place right now. And that gets you friends, information, and all sorts of things that can help you in your quest. In addition, you can decide which quests to take and which ones to ignore. And that opens doors and closes doors. Taking one person's quest might mean you can't take someone else's quest. Okay? So whose quests you accept affects who you are in this world, what kind of hero Mickey becomes, how the world feels about him. So there's choice at that level. And there are some very important characters in the game, and important encounters in the game, and how you interact with those. All of those add up, all of those things. Those choices about when to use who's